I've been thinking a lot lately about business and government, and I think it's pretty accurate to say that business controls government, especially in the UK. Doesn't make me a socialist. Maybe it means I'm not totally a free market capitalist libertarian type. Maybe I'm just in between. But I think it's true to say that actually across a lot of the Western world, the government's in the pockets of big business, bending at will to their demands in hope that the economy doesn't crash. And you know what, interestingly, if fascism relies on government and business being closely linked, then I think maybe there's an argument to suggest that our current system is fascist. But I'm digressing here, because my claim that government is too closely linked with business and that big business in effect tells the government what to do is proven today with the report that the Confederation of British Industry is advising the government to just scrap their migration targets. Just scrap them. And they're being very clever about it, by the way, because they're trying to position themselves as pro-Brexiteer and pro-normal people when they do it. So let me explain this. Let's start with the net migration target. So the government for years, since 2010, have been talking about reducing migration down to the tens of thousands. To the Tories, that means 99,999 and maybe a baby. And that's it. You know, they will get it as close as they can to 100,000. But honestly, they haven't even tried. It's been 8 years. The Tories have been in government, in coalition and by themselves. It seems like a lot of time to even get close to the goal, but we're nowhere close. We've still got hundreds of thousands of people coming into the country every year. So we're no closer to that tens of thousands goal. But now the CBI is saying that the government should just scrap that net migration target totally, and instead, they say, replace it with a system that ensures those who come to the UK make a positive impact on the economy. Nice try. I know what they're doing here, because the CBI has a history of digging its heels in over Brexit, and they're not quiet about their opinion on freedom of movement either. When they say replace it with a system that ensures those who come to the UK make a positive impact on the economy, I mean, it's quite vague, actually. It's quite vague. It sounds like the kind of thing that you would promise to patriotic voters, but in reality, it doesn't mean all that much. The CBI's Deputy Director General is a guy called Josh Hardy, and he said that immigration must be put on the table, quote, in trade talks to give us a better deal. Seriously, so specifically, he wrote this. He said, for global Britain to succeed, the UK must send the right signals that show it remains open and welcoming to the world. That means putting migration on the table in trade talks to get us a better deal. First with the EU and then other countries where it is clear existing visa restrictions inhibit trade and foreign direct investment. Free movement. He's talking about free movement in a different name. Their own recommendations on the CBI website, by the way, say that they intend to, quote, replace free movement with an open and controlled immigration system for EU workers. An open and controlled system specifically for EU workers. Now, that's just the equivalent of free movement in Europe with a different name, because otherwise what's the point? Why only for EU citizens? And as they say themselves, they want to put immigration on the table. On the table as part of trade deals, because visas are restrictive for the economy. See, I'm not fooled by this, and I want you to think about this closely as well. I won't trust big business to tell me what's good for my country. I just won't. You know, my loyalty is to my people and to my country, and not to big business, because a lot of the time, big business's loyalty is not to us. So we've got to be sensible about that. When the CBI tells us that immigration proves time and time again to have a net economic benefit, I have to ask, for who? Who's this benefit for? Is it for the worker or for the business owner? And I'm not talking about small and medium-sized business owners here. I'm talking about big companies. Because looking at towns neglected in the north, like my hometown, which doesn't do particularly great, and places even worse, much worse off in the northeast, like Hartlepool and Sunderland, large parts of Yorkshire and Lancashire. I mean, there's so many towns up north that are completely impoverished, and I can't help but think, when I think of these towns, that the CBI is either lying or being economical with the truth, because immigrants do offer quick, easy, cheap labour. Yes, but that doesn't benefit the people of Britain, does it? That benefits the big business. So I'm sure cheap labour is nice for these guys. I'm sure it's great having easy access to basically slaves, because the wages they pay them barely scratches the surface of the funds that these guys have. But it's not so handy, is it, for the mother of four who's unable to find a low-skilled position in Sunderland that actually pays fairly? So when the CBI is telling us that they need to replace the free movement system with a new free movement system, and that we need to scrap net migration targets because actually immigration is beneficial. Ask yourself, beneficial to who? If you want to see more from me and the rest of the Rebel team, remember to download our app on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, and like and subscribe.